Okay, one last episode of Contra Hard Corps is all we need to clear the two remaining endings. We saw the two bad endings, the joke ending, and the pretty decent ending. We've got two more endings to go, they are on the same path. And we have one more playable character, so let's go ahead and select Browny. Security system has been breached by an unknown hacker. An unmanned robot is running rampant throughout the city. We need to proceed to the area ASAP and restore order. So we are not only going to get the worst possible ending, but also the best possible ending, or the true ending as it were, to Contra Hard Corps. And we're going to use the littlest guy to do it too. And arguably and though he's not the fan favorite that Fang is, it could be argued that he is probably just as good, if not better. It's just that he has his weapons are kind of wonky in terms of how they operate. I mean, take this gun for instance, which is the arrow gun. And he does have a homing gun, but it's like a homing barrier thing that shoots out all directions too. This thing is soup, but the main turret, like the arrow gun, I'm going to call it. Its thing is you kind of have to steer where it goes, and it's very slow. But to make up for it, it packs a punch. I'm gonna stay on this side first because I've played this enough times to understand this boss's patterns. Gotta jump over. And yeah, another assault boss against this giant mech here. Something I never mentioned yet is that the Sega Genesis soundtrack for Contra Hard Corps is pretty kick-ass. Now it's really great tempo across the board. And just like that, we've beaten this boss. And there we go. Take on our first fight with Deadeye Joe. That's not the unmanned robot, so he is inside that thing. Oh yeah, I forgot. The person piloting this thing is Deadeye Joe, who is basically our arch nemesis of the game. And yes, whether or not you can get either one of the two good endings will ultimately be dependent on what happens after this boss fight here. Now, unfortunately, we don't really have very good options for min-maxing this boss fight, so all we can really do is try to steer the arrow gun in there's direction. It's like, at least you can steer it. There is, unfortunately, no equivalent to the spread shot, but we do have some homing projectiles. Not very good, though. Anyways, we just tore through this boss like pink butter. What or who are you? Heh, you can call me Deadeye Joe. If you want to know more than that, then come and get me. The research center is under attack by an unknown group. Please, come and help. Damn, what should I do? Well, if we go after Deadeye Joe, we are either doomed to die or the villain will escape. Those are going to be our two options. So we want to go rescue the research centers because it is imperative that Deadeye Joe remains alive till the end. We'll never get there on time. Hey bro, looks like you're having some trouble. Get on my machine, I'll take you where you want to go. Here, police, you guys sure have good timing. Look out, one of the bad guys is coming up from behind. So, this is basically the only one of the only times anyways that we will be using this projectile this entire game. It's like ricocheting bullets. Also, somewhat homes in. It's not super great with bosses, but it can deal with, I can definitely deal with ordinary enemies. Fodder enemies, that is what I'm trying to say. If you aim in all 8 directions, something is bound to hit this guy enough times to deal serious damage. So at this section, this gun is actually really good to have. You don't have to deal with all the frantic energy that comes with it. Again, it's not really something I would recommend on bosses because it doesn't deal a whole lot of damage. Now we're gonna go back to the arrow gun. I don't know the technical names for any of these weapons, so sorry about that. Just choose through health. Rats, we took one. We're going down. It'll be a rough landing. So this weapon is also pretty good if you can get it to work. Are you okay? Fine, but you must stop them. They're after the alien cell. Alien cell? We got from the mother alien in the Alien Wars 5 years ago. It's very dangerous, so we were keeping a close eye on it. So the rampaging robot was just a clever diversion. So something about that weapon that's worth noting, it is basically your only proper defense against... It's basically our only proper defense against enemy projectiles. So it can literally block them. So you don't have to take any hits. Now there are some stipulations since Browny is by far the smallest playable character in the game. It comes with some strengths and weaknesses. Oh no, I'm too late. Well, hurry through the door! I can't reach the top, so I switched to the arrow gun. It's not like I have to consciously steer where I aim. And it can phase through those obstacles too, so still dealing damage in record time. And I am just ripping through his health. Will this be it? Yep, it is. That is it. And now we get to level 3, which is, we've played through this level 3 times already, so this is attempt number 4. Again, levels 1, 3, and 4 are going to be the same regardless of which option you choose at the beginning of the game. Only level 2 changes based on the first option, at least from a gameplay standpoint. Level 4 does have one small difference, as Deadeye Joe does appear to be the pilot in level 4 if you choose not to go after him. If you do choose to go after him, he will die at level 2, and it'll be piloted by someone anonymous. It's kind of funny just how integral Deadeye Joe is to the story of this game, as his survival past level 2 is will ultimately determine your success, how successful you are at beating this game. Alright, and now I'm gonna try to use this thing. At least I don't have to slide to dodge that tail thing with the Browny. He can actually deal with this boss pretty easily on his own, but this is probably the best weapon we can use against him. Yeah, he was just about ready to die here, so... Unfortunately, you can't really aim with this thing. It's not a real gun, it's like a mechanical arm thing that deals a shit ton of damage, but goes basically all over the place. It's like a bungee arm, as I'll call it. Hear that creep Neumann cascade? Why don't you try this on for size? You can say damn, but not hell. Welcome to the virtual zone. I hope you enjoy yourself. So, the bright side is that at least the bungee arm will actually attempt to home in on the enemy. It's just, you're never gonna keep it homed in on the enemy. It's just circling or bouncing around everywhere. It's also our only means of counteracting against those light arrows he shoots at you. Again, one of the main problems with Browny is that he struggles to block other enemy projectiles, and this bungee arm is the best defense he has against them. On the bright side, at least the bungee arm homes in on this boss pretty easily. And that is such an awesome graphical fidelity right there. Alright. And yeah, that was very, very, very easy. Barely an inconvenience. Save your soft start for the people at headquarters. Browny told us who's in charge. Colonel Bahamut, I believe you've heard of him. He was a hero who fought during the Alien Wars, but 2 years ago, he planned a coup d'etat to overthrow the government. The coup d'etat was stopped in time, but the colonel fled. Till now, we had heard nothing of him. He's a dangerous man. I wonder what he's planning to do with that alien cell. His hideout is deep in the jungle. Good hunting. So right now, this is our best method of dealing with these enemies because now we have a projectile that just shoots straight forward and we don't have to worry about So yeah, this again is probably our best weapon. Unfortunately, it doesn't do a ton of damage against these guys and it's difficult to aim this projectile. Especially when you have to flail around and hit everything at once. Now this is going to be quite the gamut using the bungee arm for this section, but let's see if it'll pay off. And the answer is, kind of. At least I don't have to manually aim with the bungee arm. I just have to hold the fire button down. The problem is he's constantly phasing through the boss because it's basically properties of a homing bungee cord. Strong 4 was essentially this character's equivalent of a homing gun, but it's still pretty inconsistent. So is that it? Yeah. Alright, let's take on this boss. So one of the things about it being so small is that you don't jump very high. So, considering the fact that we will have to battle Deadeye Joe again real soon, again, Deadeye Joe will be dead if you choose to go after him. But because we want to rescue the scientist, he will still be alive for what's coming. So his survival is So whether or not we get a good ending will ultimately be dependent on Deadeye Joe's survival heading to this point, and the question then becomes, okay, how are we going to be able to beat the boss if we can't jump very high? We can't jump high enough to reach the ceiling. Well, I'll show you. So I reckon it's pretty obvious how they account for this. How they would account for this, anyways. So this thing still can tear through enemy health real swell. Fortunately, Spore, so this gun's not gonna be very helpful for this section. Of course, we're too close to the door. So we meet again. Deadeye Joe. So this will be your graveyard. So basically the main difference between this fight with Browny versus other characters is that we typically should not be, is that our jump sucks. We don't have the height or the distance to actually reach that ceiling on our own, but there is a trick we can do with Browny that will help us rectify with that. Man, that arm is so overpowered that it completely tore through his health. Even though he's struggling to home in on him. The arm is struggling to home in on him. So we just need to slowly climb up. Don't let yourself get cornered by the top or bottom of the screen if you can help it. Alright, so the phase is ending. So you just have to hug the ceiling, and this whole sequence should be automated for us. So this will be much more reliable than using the arm for this section because we need to be able to hit this thing. Could have gone scary, but at least we made it. So it's not a projectile in the traditional sense, it's just a couple of missiles, so those arrows can pop missiles, just not the little beady like the light bullets. Just call it that. Just call them bullets. And similar to Fang before him, you have to manually aim with this, though. So you just have to fidget between right and bottom right. East and southeast, so to speak. Going back to the bungee arm, even though it's kind of wildly unpredictable here. I mean, I was able to blast through this phase in record time as well. So yes, Browny has a double jump. That's how he's able to reach the ceiling, and that's also why it took several attempts, several tries at this via the save states to get this right, because it's kind of easy to forget. Oh yeah, Browny has actually has a double jump. So it's wildly inconsistent, that's what I would say. I'd call this wildly inconsistent because you're like hovering everywhere, it's very erratic. I'm super close, so I'm kind of vulnerable to dying, so save state here is in order. Still deals decent amount of damage, then Deadeye Joe gets away. Now this section pretty much plays the same way as we did last time when we killed Deadeye Joe at level 2. So we have to go through the experiments fight again because we are not going to surrender this time. Doctor is assisting us. I'm sick and tired of this weakling government. Having obtained something as magnificent as the alien cell, they squander the opportunity by locking away in a vault. The Colonel feels as I do and will help me achieve my plans. I can carry on with my own dark experiments. Why, you treacherous little... Well, Doctor, I'll leave the rest up to you. There's no escape. You must surrender peacefully. So, we are gonna fight to the end because this is where you get the best and worst endings from. This section plays out the same as before. I will say, though, that with Browny's janky controls, it's probably not going to be super straightforward on how to deal with his experiments. You can either go really fast or really long depending on how well our weapons are willing to cooperate with us. So at this point, I probably should have chose the weapon slot B instead of the one slot C. Oh, I was already quick to disarm, so I felt might as well just try sting commit. But yeah, at this point, this is not a good weapon to use. Probably should have used the ricocheting bullets for those two enemies. So while I talk about this, it's not going to be apparent right away because you're like, well, the doctor dies, so they will mishandle the experiment. But what is easy to miss is that Deadeye Joe still plays an integral role in this part of the story because Deadeye Joe is the one who winds up transferring the experiment to Bahamut's super weapon. With the Doctor no longer alive, Bahamut cannot fuse with the alien cell to become a super being. But Deadeye Joe alive, though, he can still install into the rocket. But both are killed. But if Deadeye Joe is killed when you actually go do the experiment fight, the alien cell will rebel on its own. So basically, if you kill Deadeye Joe and then turn yourself in, the bad guy will have enough time to merge with the alien cell and launch his super weapon upon the world. You kill the Doctor here, but Deadeye Joe is dead. There will be no one that will be able to handle the transferring the alien cell, so the alien cell rebels and allows Bahamut a chance to escape. If Deadeye Joe's still alive, but you turn yourself in, Deadeye Joe will break you out of your cell, so you can properly stop Bahamut. However, Bahamut will still merge with... I never imagined that the Doctor was working for the enemy. Because of that, we now know where their HQ is. We will take an overseas route to strike at them. This time we'll take them all out with extreme prejudice. So this is a level 5D, so to speak. So turning ourselves in with Deadeye Joe alive, what this does is that Bahamut will betray both the Doctor and Deadeye Joe after Deadeye Joe broke you out of prison. But because he never had time to install the alien cell onto a super weapon, he will instead choose to merge with the super weapon. But now that the Doctor's dead but Deadeye Joe's still alive, Deadeye Joe is able to transfer the alien cell, but you still have a chance to catch up to Bahamut and stop his plans from taking place. Basically, this is our opportunity for an absolute victory over Bahamut and his forces. So due to just how erratic this boss is, I decided to switch over to this arrow gun. It's like, I'm not barely hitting this thing, I might as well. So this boss is kind of tricky. It's one of those multi-phase boss battles. And something I also have to respect Konami for is that all of their games released on the Genesis is basically a version exclusive release. So Konami never makes a game that's available on both the Genesis and Super Nintendo. They make a game that's exclusive for the SNES and then makes an exclusive top for the Genesis. The closest we get to something that's available on both consoles are some of their sports lineups, and I guess you could say Sunset Rider, but even then Sunset Rider on the Genesis and Super Nintendo are drastically different games. But that was quite the freeze frame I got there. So right now, I think it's safe to just use the bungee arm and jump here. Let that do all the work while you just jump to dodge those buzz saws. It's not reliable, super reliable, but it'll do. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It shoots everywhere except where it's aiming. So it's basically telling you where to dodge. But that is level 5D in the works. So now the final level of this particular ending, and indeed, our final level of Contra Hard Corps full stop. We're getting both of our remaining we're getting our 2 remaining endings all at once in this episode. And one of them is even more free than the secret ending was, given the fact that we have access to save states here. Yeah, I kind of have to jump around a bit in order to avoid those turrets. So at this point, I decided I'm just gonna. Yeah, it didn't work. I thought I could be able to shoot those guys by using the B button, but it's like, nope. They're just going into wacky formations. You have to take those formations out. I'm not quite sure how useful the homing bungee hand is gonna be that helpful, but I digress. Finally decided to switch back to this weapon because might as well. And here is the critical moment where we can get both endings. I didn't think you'd make it. You have ruined my plans. But a warrior as strong and brave as you are deserving of praise. I've been looking for a soldier such as you for a long time. Join with me. The world is waiting for people such as you and I to lead them. Now I'm going to use a save state here because while this is more of a special game over than it is a true ending, it is still counted as one of the 6 endings. and thus the most evil dictator of all time was born, and mankind was propelled into a long age of darkness and gloom. Game over here. But we saw 5 continues. But I'm just gonna use a load state and refuse him this time. Stubborn buffoon, prepare to die. Fortunately, this guy, even though he's not fused with the alien cell this time around, is way, 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 way harder. Like, it is kind of insane just how much harder Bahamut is here. As there are no telegraph movements, his movements can be quite erratic. Fortunately, he has some sort of pattern, so he's not totally unpredictable. You've beaten me, but this will be no victory for you. When I die, a missile armed with the alien cell will take off. You'll see the world burn in the flames of hell. Oh, here is the word hell. Now you can say hell. That's weird. This is still part of the final level, so it's not level 7 here, it's part of level 6 still. And here comes our final bout against Deadeye Joe. This is the final battle. Colonel is already dead. Stop this foolishness. I could care less about the Colonel. I'm going all the way. Yeah, he still helped the Colonel install the alien cell on board the rocket ship, so now we have to board these smaller rockets to try and catch up to the big rocket. Physics, am I right? But I suppose, to be honest, even though all 4 characters are capable of pursuing all 6 of these endings, there's no ending in this game that is locked behind either of these characters. But it's very much the exact same thing no matter what you do. Realistically, Browny is probably the only character in the game that could possibly take on a mission like this. And this is just ridiculous. Yep, so cool. So I'm trying to use all my different projectiles and it's not killing this mass-produced alien thing. So really the only task is to just keep on going up. At least I took out that tendril super quickly. And I was wondering, it took me a while to figure out, what's going on here? Why are we not doing it? Well, it turns out we haven't made it all the way to the far end of the screen, so we're just stuck here. Had to move a little bit closer to the right just to trigger the final boss fight. No, that wasn't the final boss. This is the final boss. This eldritch horror abomination that is the alien cell. By the way, the arrow guns are the best ways to go because now we can just destroy the arms as they spawn in while dealing constant damage to the main head itself. That is literally a safety strat, and we can also take care of those little fodder enemies that he spawns out of his mouth. Just turn through his health. And one last emergency oh, don't think I needed that save state at all. Never mind, that was already the end of the battle. That was kind of funny. And we die. Not. Hey, brother, sorry to keep you waiting. Thanks for the hand. Good job, you're in for a hero's welcome. Yes, indeed, this is the best possible ending in the entire game. Might not be as clean as Fang's ending when we actually defeated the fusion of Bahamut in the alien cell. Bahamut infused with the alien cell, but this is definitely the coolest and the best and cleanest victory otherwise. Real Sonic 2. This is some real Sonic 2 type shit right here. Being popped by our buddy on top of his chopper. Actually, that's not a chopper, that's a plane, but it's basically a chopper but without propellers. So yeah, I think this is definitely my favorite Contra game. I definitely felt I got better and better as I went along. I learned how the game functions properly, and I think it blows Contra 3 out of the water. And though the NES games are great too, I still think this is probably my 10 favorite Sega Genesis games of all time now. So congrats, Contra Hard Corps, you're pretty awesome. Definitely recommended for anyone who really wants to get into the Sega Genesis. This game is the reason why I got this collection, so I could finally cover this game at long last. Awesome recommendation. But even though we are done with Contra Hard Corps, we still technically aren't done with the Contra Anniversary Collection. We're not gonna beat these games fully next time, but I will be covering the Probotector games next time in the final episode of Contra Anniversary Collection. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I greatly appreciate it. With all the way, this is Mike Gorn, sign out.